Hey there, and welcome to part 4 of the Financial Cleanse series, where we are going to be talking all about cleaning up your investments. My name is Justine with Debt Free Millennials, and if you've been following this series, we have been doing a quick financial cleanup to make sure we are checking in with our finances. You can do this anytime throughout the year, and in this video, we are going to be talking exclusively about your investments. So let's get started. All right, so we all know the importance of investing, saving for our retirement, but perhaps it's been put on the back burner just because a lot of people don't really know how to get started with investing, or they're just kind of confused as to what order they should be doing their investments. And this is also another thing about investing, is how do you prioritize investing if you still have debt? Do you do both of them simultaneously or one before the other? I actually have a whole video that talks about whether you should invest or debt. If you want to check that out, I will leave that in the description box below. But let's go ahead and just talk through your investments and do a quick cleanup. Now, the first area that you want to go into is your 401k or 403b, basically any employer-sponsored retirement plan that you are enrolled in, or maybe you aren't enrolled in, and you need to start looking into that. This is the first place that I would check for your investments and make sure that you are set up correctly. Now, one thing that you'll want to know is whether or not you are contributing up to the employer match, or if your employer has a matching program to begin with. Now, when I say employer match, I mean, are they putting the same amount of money and matching your contributions that you're putting into your retirement plan? So let's say you enrolled in your 401k and you are contributing just 2% into your retirement plan, but your employer will also put in up to 5% of your equivalent to your contributions into your retirement plan. This is a good time to bump up that contribution to match your employer's match. So if they're doing 5%, contribute up to 5%, and now effectively you have 10% going towards your retirement. Some retirement plans with employers do have mandatory contributions. When I was working for a university and I was enrolled in a 403b program, we actually had a mandatory contribution of 5.5%. We had to absolutely make that contribution from our paycheck, and then we could decide whether or not we want to contribute more. So check first with your employer retirement plan. Also, another thing when it comes to employer-sponsored retirement plans is you need to look for any existing previous plans that you were a part of with an old employer. So let's say you've recently moved jobs. Did your retirement plan move with you? A lot of times, unfortunately, people just leave that money and kind of forget about those accounts. It's so important to roll over any old retirement accounts into new ones. You can absolutely do that. You can roll over an old 401k balance into a new 401k. All it takes is just some transfer forms that you can download from either one of those investing platforms and then make that transition. You can also have human resources help you with this. If you are not going into another 401k, you can also take that old money and roll it over into a rollover IRA or a traditional IRA, which operates much like a 401k does in the sense of how they are taxed. You can absolutely do that by opening up a IRA with your own brokerage firm that you choose. That could be TD Ameritrade, Fidelity. I personally use Vanguard, and that's exactly what I did when I transitioned out of a full-time job and then worked for myself. I opened up a traditional IRA and rolled over any old 401k money into that IRA. I highly suggest doing that, even if you think the balance is small and not worth doing. If there's $600 in an old 401k, I would roll that over. Take the time, take the hour to get those transfer forms, figure it out. Think of it this way. If you saw $600 in the street, would you pick it up? Of course you would. So go ahead and make that transition. This is another step to your investing financial cleanse. Picking up and rolling over old 401k money. The next thing, after you have your 401k taken care of and you know that you have a match put into place, then you'll want to take a look at opening up a Roth IRA. I love Roth IRAs because they have great tax advantages. So you can actually, your money going into a Roth IRA is already taxed up front. So when you take those withdrawals during retirement, you actually take them tax-free, which is opposite of a 401k in which you are taxed on the withdrawals during retirement. So this gives your money in a Roth IRA a chance to really balloon and snowball up. You'll want to make sure that you are eligible for a Roth IRA. Most people are. If you make less than $198,000 filing jointly, your modified adjusted gross income is less than $198,000, you can contribute up to the full contribution limit. For the year 2021, your contribution limit is $6,000 for the year or $500 per month. Now, I'm actually following loosely the financial advice from The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. So he does suggest starting with those employer matches and then going into the Roth IRA. This book is awesome. I originally bought it on Kindle, and then I was like, I have to have like the real deal in my hands. So I frequently go back to this book, kind of check in with myself. If you are wanting to do a proper financial cleanse for your investments, I suggest picking up this book and start reading one chapter a week and following the instructions from this book as well. So your Roth IRA can be really beneficial because it's taxed differently than a 401k or a traditional IRA. Ideally, you can have both of these accounts set up together. So you can be contributing to your 401k or a traditional IRA and also contributing to the Roth IRA at the same time. You can absolutely have both accounts. I do, and I find it to be really helpful in my investing journey. After you get those accounts taken care of, set up, you've got monthly contributions going to both, then you can look at outside investing. So think of this as kind of play money, or if you're wanting to learn more about just buying individual stocks to build up your wealth, then you can look at tools like Robinhood or Webull. I personally use Robinhood and kind of use some money just to experiment with buying individual stocks. Now, in my opinion, the best way to really build wealth with investments is by purchasing low-cost index funds with Vanguard. They have the lowest expense ratio out of all the brokerage firms you're going to find out there, and index funds gives you broad exposure to the entire portfolio or the entire market. I really love them a lot. But this video is for educational purposes only, so do your research. If you want to buy individual stocks, you absolutely can. I do, because I think that it's really interesting to buy into companies where I have a vested interest in. So for example, I really like Disney. So I bought a share of Disney. I can see Disney really kind of skyrocketing back and rebounding after this pandemic. So I got into Disney. I also bought a share, a fractional share on Robinhood. You can do this where maybe you don't have enough money to buy one share, but you have enough money to buy maybe $50 worth. You can do what's called fractional shares inside of Robinhood. I will link my affiliate link below if you want to sign up and then get your first stock free. And I did this with a company called Jazz Pharmaceuticals. And Jazz Pharmaceuticals actually created a drug that was used to help treat COVID, which I thought was really awesome. So I've been tracking Jazz Pharmaceuticals and their stock price on Robinhood. It's been really fun. But if you are unsure of what investing platform to do on this kind of like fun experimental level, then you can actually take a investing quiz on a website called moneymade.io. I've been partnering with them because I think they're awesome. They are a free investing marketplace where you take an investment quiz, fill in your details, and then they're going to spit out a tailored list of investing platforms that best fits your needs. Okay, so now we've covered the order in which you should be attacking your investments, including your 401k, any employer-sponsored retirement plan, a Roth IRA, and then any outside investing outside of that using robo-advising platforms or platforms such as Robinhood to kind of fuel your wealth building strategies, or use them to fuel short to midterm savings goals such as a down payment. I use a bond index fund inside of Vanguard, and I've opened up a brokerage account to help fuel my down payment. I have a whole video on that, so you'll want to be sure to check that out if you want to learn more about bond index funds. I will link to that in the description box below. If you're unsure of what investing platform to use, definitely check out moneymade.io, free investing marketplace that's just going to give you a tailored list of results based on your investing needs. So was this helpful for you? Let me know below, what is the one investment area that you are focused on cleaning up right now? Is it your 401k, or maybe opening up a Roth IRA for the first time? Let me know. This concludes the 4-part series of the financial cleanse. If you haven't watched any of the previous videos, I highly suggest you go back and watch them in order. This is exactly how I'm doing it. I'm starting with my budget, then going through all of the other things listed. Debt. If you're debt free, then you can skip the debt one and then go directly into savings and investing. If you liked this series and want to see more series like this, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you in the next video.